Today's topic is one that needs no introduction. The notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar, and what happened after his death. His life was filled with glamour, wealth, and violence. But what happened to his empire after he was taken down? Did his legacy live on, or did the world become a safer place without him? Get ready to buckle up as we take you on a roller coaster ride of the aftermath of one of the most infamous drug lords in history. Pablo Escobar, the king of cocaine, was responsible for an estimated 80% of the world's cocaine supply at the height of his power. He was one of the wealthiest people in the world, with a net worth of over $30 billion. His life was filled with violence, betrayal, and excess. But what happened after he was killed? Did his death mark the end of an era, or did it just create a power vacuum that led to even more violence and chaos? Did you know that Pablo Escobar was once considered one of the most powerful men in the world? His death was a turning point in the history of drug trafficking. But what happened next? After Pablo Escobar's death, there was a power vacuum in the Colombian drug trade. The Medellin Cartel, which he had been the head of, was the most powerful drug cartel in the world, and his death left a void that was eagerly filled by rival drug lords, which had previously been overshadowed by Escobar's Medellin Cartel, emerged as the dominant force in the country's cocaine trade. They were able to take control of the Medellin Cartel's operations and expand their own network, making them one of the most powerful drug cartels in the world. The Colombian government was determined to put an end to the drug trade and began a campaign to crack down on drug trafficking. The government's efforts were successful, and over the next few years, many of the country's top drug lords were arrested or killed. But the end of the drug trade didn't mean the end of violence in Colombia. The power vacuum left by the death of Pablo Escobar led to a rise in violence between rival gangs and drug cartels. The violence became so bad that it became known as the narco-terrorism period, as the cartels began to use terrorist tactics to protect their interests. During this time, the United States became heavily involved in the war on drugs in Colombia. They provided financial and military support to the Colombian government, and many American law enforcement agencies worked with their Colombian counterparts to target drug traffickers. Despite the government's efforts, drug trafficking continues to be a major problem in Colombia. While the Cali cartel was dismantled, other cartels emerged to take their place. The most powerful of these is currently the Gulf Clan, which controls much of the cocaine trade in the country. Did you know that the Gulf Clan is currently the most powerful drug cartel in Colombia? How do you think they compare to the infamous Medellin and Cali cartels? The Gulf Clan is known for its brutal tactics and willingness to use violence to protect their interests. They've been responsible for a number of high-profile crimes, including the murder of several social leaders and the bombing of a police station in the city of Barranquilla. Despite the government's efforts to crack down on drug trafficking, corruption remains a major problem in Colombia. Many law enforcement officials and politicians have been accused of accepting bribes from drug cartels, and it is widely believed that corruption is one of the main reasons why the drug trade continues to thrive in the country. The United States has also come under criticism for its role in the war on drugs in Colombia. Critics argue that American involvement has only made the situation worse, as it has led to an increase in violence and instability in the country. Do you think that the United States should continue to be involved in the war on drugs in Colombia, or should the country be left to handle the problem on its own? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. There have been some positive developments in the fight against drug trafficking in Colombia. The government has implemented a number of social programs aimed at reducing poverty and providing opportunities for young people, which is seen as one of the most effective ways to combat the drug trade. There has also been a growing movement to legalize drugs, both in Colombia and around the world. Advocates argue that legalization would not only reduce violence and corruption associated with the drug trade, but it would also generate tax revenue that could be used to fund social programs and education. Do you think that legalizing drugs would be an effective way to combat the drug trade, or would it only make the situation worse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. The death of Pablo Escobar marked the end of an era in the Colombian drug trade. While the government's efforts to crack down on drug trafficking were initially successful, they were not enough to completely eradicate the problem. The legacy of Pablo Escobar continues to haunt Colombia, as drug cartels continue to operate and violence remains a serious problem. Do you think the war on drugs in Colombia will ever be successful in completely eradicating the drug trade? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today on our channel. We hope you found this video informative and interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this.